Hello, and welcome to the Those Dweebs podcast, where we have a little bit of everything for everyone. Let's roll the d20 of fate and see what we are talking about today. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode, or welcome to the episode. If this is your first time listening, thank you so much for being here. We cover a variety of topics, and it's always something different every week. I will say ahead of time that I am recording this without seeing previous comments or the new download, so I don't know, I was in the mood to record. It's a rare event, and I'm very happy to be able to do it. But without me rambling anymore, today we're going to be talking about the Purple Gang. And this is a subject that I had no clue about until I started working at when I was working at my previous job at one of the Michigan's oldest and largest wineries, St. Julian, and this was, of course, during Prohibition Era, so it makes sense. But before that, all I had really known about, as far as, the Mafia and the gangs, was Al Capone, because that's one of the most talked about. But to me, I also find the Purple Gang very interesting, just because of the correlation they had with one of my previous jobs way back when. But without further ado, let's get into this, because who doesn't love learning about new things? So in this, we will be delving into the shadowy world of the Purple Gang, a notorious Jewish-American organization crime group that operated in Detroit during the Prohibition Era. This episode will explore their origins, key figures, criminal activities, rivalries, decline, and cultural impact. The Purple Gang's story is one of power, betrayal, and the harsh realities faced by immigrant communities in the early 20th century America. If any of those are super sensitive to you, please do feel free to skip this episode. I completely understand. But without further ado, let's get into this. Historical context with the origins of the Purple Gang. Immigration waves. The early 1900s saw waves of Jewish immigrants fleeing persecution in Eastern Europe, particularly from the Pale of Settlement. They settled in cities like Detroit, where they faced economic hardships, discrimination, and limited opportunities. Social dynamics. Many Jewish immigrants lived in crowded neighborhoods facing poverty and social exclusion. To navigate these challenges, some young men banded together for mutual protection, leading to the formation of gangs. The formation of the Purple Gang. Neighborhood roots. Initially, the Purple Gang was a local neighborhood group formed to protect Jewish residents from other gangs. As they grew in numbers and influence, they began to engage in more serious criminal activities. Emergence as a criminal organization. By the early 1920s, the gang evolved into a formidable criminal organization, capitalizing on the opportunities created by Prohibition. Their name and identity. Purple significance. The exact origin of the name Purple Gang is debated. Some sources suggest it stems from the gang's choice of clothing, while others propose it reflects their ties to the Jewish community or their violent reputation. Regardless, the name became synonymous with crime and intimidation. Key figures of the Purple Gang. Their prominent leaders. Harry the Horse Behrman. A central figure in the gang, Berman was known for his brutality and strategic mind. He was instrumental in the gang's bootlegging operations and was feared for his violent methods. Isaac Ike Cohen. Cohen was crucial in organizing the gang's illegal activities. He was seen as the brains behind many operations, including the establishment of distribution networks for smuggled alcohol. Benny Bugsy Siegel. Although he became more famous in his role in the Las Vegas casino scene, Siegel's early involvement with the Purple Gang, laid the foundation for his later success in organized crime. He helped facilitate connections between the Purple Gang and the other crime syndicates. Criminal activities, bootlegging operations. Control of the liquor trade. The Purple Gang seized control of the bootlegging operations in Detroit, establishing networks for smuggling alcohol from Canada. They became a significant supplier of illegal liquor to speakeasies, bars, and private clubs. See, that's where I initially heard about them, was a part of that. And if you take the tour for St. Julian, they actually do have one of the old smuggling boats in the back, and it's honestly really interesting and fascinating that was a part of their history, which with a building that's over 100 years old, or an operation and company that's over 100 years old, it makes a lot of sense. The other one is competitions with other gangs. The gang faced stiff competition from Italian mafia factions and other criminal groups, leading to violent confrontations as they fought for control over territory and distribution routes. Extortion and racketeering. Protection rackets. The Purple Gang demanded payments from businesses in exchange for protection against theft and vandalism, often committing these acts themselves to intimidate and coerce compliance. Gambling operations. In addition to bootlegging, the gang ran illegal gambling operations, including poker games and betting rings. They often used violence to enforce their control over these enterprises. Murder and violence. Reputation for brutality. The Purple Gang was notorious for its violent tactics, often resorting to murder to eliminate rivals or traitors. Their brutal reputation allowed them to instill fear within the community and among other criminal organizations. The internal conflicts. As the gang grew in power, internal disputes often led to violent purges. Members suspected of disloyalty faced severe consequences, which further fueled their violent reputation. Conflicts and rivalries. Feuds with Italian gangs. Italian Mafia rivalry. The Purple Gang's primary rivals were the Italian Mafia, particularly under bosses like Joe Parfacci. I'm going to butcher these, I am so sorry. And Salvatore Maranzano. Woo. Their struggle for control of the lucrative bootlegging market resulted in a sense of violent clashes. Gang wars. These rivalries led to significant bloodshed in Detroit, and with both sides engaging in shootings and arson. The intense competition contributed to a chaotic environment, with civilians often caught in the crossfire. Key incidents. The 1927 Beer Wars. The conflict between the Purple Gang and Italian rivals escalated dramatically, with gang members attacking each other in public and launching violent reprisals. The violence attracted law enforcement's attention, further complicating these operations. The murder of Italian gang leaders. The Purple Gang was involved in several high-profile murders of rival gang members, which not only increased tensions but also drew attention from the law enforcement agencies. The decline of the Purple Gang. The end of Prohibition. Repeal of the 18th Amendment. The repeal of Prohibition in 1933 marked a turning point of the Purple Gang. With legalization of alcohol, their primary source of income dispersed, leaving them scrambling to adapt to a new criminal landscape. Shift in criminal focus. Many former bootleggers began to explore other avenues of income, such as gambling or narcotics, but the Purple Gang struggled to maintain their relevance in the rapidly changing environment. The law enforcement pressure. Increased crackdowns. Law enforcement agencies began to take organized crime seriously, implementing strategies to combat gang violence, and illegal activities. The Purple Gang faced increased scrutiny, leading to arrest and convictions of key members. Fragmentation and infighting. As the gang's financial situation deteriorated, infighting and betrayal became rampant. Former allies turned against each other, leading into further violence and a breakdown of their once cohesive structure. Cultural impact and legacy. Media representation. The films and documentaries. The Purple Gang has been depicted in various media forms, including documentaries, films, and television series. Notable portrayals include The Purple Gang from 1959, a film that dramatizes the gang's rise and fall, exploring their criminal exploits and relationships. Boardwalk Empire, 2010 to 2014. The acclaimed HBO series featured characters inspired by the Purple Gang, illustrating their influence on organized crime in the early 20th century. Documentaries. Several true crime documentaries delve into the history of organized crime in Detroit, featuring the Purple Gang as a key subject. These documentaries often highlight the gang's brutal methods and significant roles during Prohibition. Their historical significance. Symbol of the immigrant experience. The Purple Gang's story reflects the struggles and aspirations of Jewish immigrants in America. Their rise within organized crime, emblematic of how marginalized communities navigated social challenges, and the impact on organized crime. The Purple Gang's activities helped shape the landscape of organized crime in the United States. Their conflict of methods influenced later generations of criminals, particularly in how gangs operate and compete for the control over illegal markets. In conclusion, the story of the Purple Gang is a compelling narrative of ambition, violence, and survival against the backdrop of Prohibition-era America. The rise to power and subsequent decline offers valuable insights into the complexities of organized crime, social dynamics, and the immigrant experience. As we reflect on their legacy, the Purple Gang remains a fascinating chapter in the history of American organized crime. Like I was saying in the beginning, when I first heard about them, it was one of those moments of I'd never heard about them. And so it was one of those driving things of like, I wanted to learn more about them and why they were doing what they were doing. And given the time period of everything and all that was happening in the world, it made a lot of sense. But definitely do more research into it. It is a fascinating topic, but I'm going to call it for the night. It is almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I haven't done one of these in a long time. But remember, we are on all platforms to which you get your podcast. Please give us a rating and leave a comment. Let us know like what other things you would like us to cover. I'm always willing and open to suggestions, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right, bye guys.